Hey guys, today I want to tell you about the top 3 things that I really love about this car. If you've been watching the videos on my channel, you'll know that it's a 2002 BMW X5 3-liter. It's the E53 generation, and I picked up this car for $3,300 about 3 months ago, and I've been taking it on all kinds of adventures. I mean, in the past, my vehicular adventures were mostly limited to taking stuff to the track, taking sports cars to the track. But now, with this car, living in San Diego and being around a lot of people who love off-roading, I decided to get an SUV that I could beat around. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would you get a BMW X5 to go off-roading? Well, I know that this is not the most capable off-roader out there, but it's a bit like how Bentley makes really fast cars that are sporty as well. And it's like, why would you make this big, heavy luxury car and then make it really fast on the track? But that's what Bentley does, and I think to an extent that's what BMW has kind of done. And I think there's something epic about thrashing around a big Luxo couch like this. So that's kind of why I got it. Now today I want to tell you about why I love this car so much, and a lot of this has to do with like the DNA that was in BMWs of the late 90s to the early 2000s. All right, we're getting off the freeway here, so maybe there's a bit less noise now. This is the Mission Bay area in San Diego. Love this area, love hanging out, and I might do some droning, get some drone footage later. So the first thing I love about this car is the feeling of solidity in the way that it's built and the materials that they've chosen for the interior. BMWs from this era have a really heavy-duty, chunky feel to them. I mean, just listen to the way the door locks sound. It kind of goes towards like what the G-Wagon kind of sounds like, maybe just a tad less metallic, but it's still got that like deadbolt kind of sound to it. It's part of the intangibles of what makes this era of BMW so awesome. Heavy duty, right? All the switch gear and everything is like really solid. Oh, these turn signals, so good, so good. You might argue that they're in great condition because they've never been used, as this is a BMW, but I'm pretty sure they would be like that even if you did use them. Of course, we know that it's not really the case that it's all that solid. Like, the door locks fail all the time, those door mechanisms fail all the time, so do the window regulators. All that stuff is actually quite fragile relative to, say, a Toyota product. But intangibly, I think the sense that you get from the E53 X5 is that it just feels so great. And the second thing I want to talk about is the dynamics, and you can break down dynamics into a bunch of different things. The first thing, I guess, is steering. I love the steering. We had the hydraulic steering with a relatively slow ratio, heavy steering, amazing on center feel. A lot of cars these days have this really fast steering ratio and somewhat lighter steering. If you're driving around the freeway, it takes a lot of mental energy to constantly pay attention to what your steering wheel is doing, versus these old steering racks that are a little heavier and they are hydraulic and they have this wonderful centering ability. It makes the car feel really solid and stable and easy to drive on the freeway. All right, now let's talk about handling. This chassis has incredible handling, in my opinion, for what it is. I'm under no illusion that this is a sports car, but what I like the most about this chassis is that it's actually quite balanced. What I find to be really amazing is that you can actually cause this car mid-corner to tuck in the nose if you lift off the throttle a little bit, or to track out if you get into the gas. And that's amazing. That is something that good sports cars try to do, and I think it's amazing that this big ol' SUV can do that in a very predictable manner. I mean, most vehicles can do that, but this one does it in a very predictable manner. And what about braking? Well, it doesn't stop super short, but the brakes are really smooth, and they give you a lot of confidence. The brake feel is really good, and you don't feel like the X5 is going out of control when you hit the brakes hard. The suspension kind of holds everything together. This car does have the sports package. That means it has a sports suspension. It's got other nice little bits, like the steering wheel looks a little bit better. It's got this black headliner, and it also has nicer wheels. It's BMW style 69 wheels, and so with the sports suspension and the slightly bigger wheels, this car really has great handling and great braking. The downfall in terms of dynamics really is the power in this 3-liter. I bought the 3-liter because A, it's a little bit cheaper, good for for a beater. B, it's a little bit lighter, which is actually better for off-road. But man, when you're trying to accelerate up a, let's say, a freeway on-ramp that's uphill, oh geez, this thing is slow. But if you get the 4.4 or the 4.6, those have great power, and they're a hoot to drive. But I can say that my 3.0 has incredible handling and really great braking and really great steering, just not great power. And the last thing I love about this car is really the styling. When this first came out, I thought it looked a little weird, especially the back end of the car. But I think it's just these shapes don't really go out of style. This is just a very classic SUV body shape. It's kind of like Jeeps, like Grand Cherokees. Like every Grand Cherokee from the last like 15 years looks the same to me. They all look new to me. I think that's what this car kind of does for me. It looks, it has stopped aging in my mind. This vehicle kind of came right before we started having a lot of screens in cars, and so this car only has these kind of basic displays. They did offer an option to get navigation and whatnot, and unfortunately those units look terrible nowadays, right? But most of these don't have the navigation screen, and without the screen, in my opinion, the interior is actually a lot more timeless, and I think it's kind of like the peak of modern design without the screens, right? This is right before we had all the crazy screens in cars. A lot of people I know don't like it because it's a little bit plain. It's just kind of, they'll say that it's drab. I personally think it's timeless. Maybe I'm a boring person. Maybe I think drab equals timeless. No, that's up to you to decide. But this video is about my opinion of this X5, and I'm an expert on my opinion, so that's what my opinion is. So there you have it. Those are the reasons that I really personally love this 2002 BMW X5 3-liter that I bought for just a hair over $3,000. I think it comes down to really great quality, or at least perceived quality. It also has just amazing dynamics for what it is, and it has this timeless styling that I think has aged really well. If you liked this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna follow this up with a video about everything that's wrong with this car. I expressly bought this car with the intention of just, beating around on it a little bit and using it to its full potential, and then selling it after a few months. It's kind of like a Top Gear challenge. I've owned it for 3 months. I might hold on to it a bit longer than originally anticipated. But I will make a video and upload it soon about all the problems that I've had with this car. So if you're interested in buying one of these things, hit the subscribe button so that you can catch my future videos about what to watch out for, what has gone wrong in my car. All right, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.